Today we're going to talk about a strategy called Ready to Order that I used with my AC 6th grade Earth Science classes. So the 6th grade Earth Science standard that we were trying to master in this lesson is that students should be able to construct an explanation of how to classify rocks by their formation, and then how can rocks change through the geologic processes in the rock cycle. So students had already learned how igneous rocks were formed, how sedimentary rocks were formed, and metamorphic rocks were formed. And they had a pretty good understanding of the rock cycle and the different processes that go into changing from one to the other. So I used ChatGPT to help me come up with different sets of 3 rocks, one metamorphic, one igneous, and one sedimentary, that go together in the rock cycle. So each group of 3 students got one of these cards, and their task was to figure out which of the rocks had to have been made first, and then which one second and which one third, because there's only one correct way that these could go together. And then they had to write it on this ready to order graphic organizer. So they had to put whichever rock came first here with the rock name, and then why they found out that that came first, and so on. Kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. They were told that there's only one way that these can go together. So as any good teacher would do, I actually lied to the kids by telling them that there was only one way that these could go together. There are actually multiple ways, depending on how they explain it and what processes they say it goes through. But in their mind, there was only one right way, and so that led them to collaborate a lot more and really research to figure out the correct order. And so after they found the order, they were tasked with making it into a presentation. They were given the options of PowerPoint, Sway, and they also know how to use Canva. A lot of them chose that, but it was interesting that all the presentations were very different. They were able to be as creative as they wanted to be, and because they were all given different rocks, no 2 presentations were the same, which was really cool. Everybody paid attention and asked good questions, and actually 2 groups had the same one, and so then after the presentations they were like, well, this can't be right because we researched it. And so then I had to explain, well, this is where explanations come into play, because the way that they explained it could actually work. And so then they agreed, and it was just really cool. Lots of good collaboration even during the presentations. Here are 2 of the PowerPoint examples that my students did. You can see that they are all different. They have different number of slides. The students even put in some little animations, so they got really creative with it. Here's another PowerPoint example, and I liked their organization that they came up with. They introduced each rock and told about that, and then they had this slide called Piecing It Together. So then they told how they go together, and they had quite a funny ending, and so that all the students liked that. These are 2 examples of presentations where the students chose Canva as their platform. And here you can see these students just copied and pasted some graphics of the rocks. But this group actually, while they were doing the science presentation, they learned how to remove the background from these rocks that they got. So that was just an added bonus that that they learned with technology. I really liked this strategy. It had many pros. The first thing is that it is very versatile. I think you could use this in many topics as well as different subjects. It promoted collaboration in my classroom. It challenged the students to think deeply, and it also forced them to justify their thinking. It reinforced their reasoning skills, and it definitely deepened their understanding of not only the rock cycle, but that there are different ways that the rock cycle can work. It's not always in a circle, and it definitely fostered communication. So I would highly recommend the Ready to Order strategy.